Welcome. Today I'm going to be going over my Freyna build. Now, Freyna is quite an interesting character because right now I believe that Contagion isn't her best thing. However, I'm a really big fan of Contagion, and so this is a Contagion build. Now, I want to throw us straight into the Descendant modules and all that stuff. However, I'm going to immediately preface by saying this isn't a tap one button, everything on your screen instantaneously die. It is going to take ticks, as that is how Contagion works, or dot, I guess. And the cooldown isn't the absolute instant. Like, you're not going to be able to spam out your one like over and over, but it comes back quick enough that you can rotate it pretty quickly. So this is our build itself, and again we're going to be using Contagion, and the only thing that's like pretty much guaranteed that you have to have in this build is the Infected Weapon and Contagion. I personally like to use a Transcendent module. However, if you're not using a Transcendent module, you can replace this with something else, maybe to make up for the lacking of cooldown. So maybe something to do with cooldown, or even veteran tactics could be smart. Again, to make your cooldown situation a bit easier, but I like to use a Transcendent module because I've got a decent one. But this is the build. I'll leave it on the screen here so you can pause or go through whatever you need to do. I'm not going to go through and explain everything and what it all does. You can kind of just guess by reading the names and when you're doing it or looking at it. But basically, this is going to be a just flat damage, non-crit, Contagion, dot damage build. It's really good at mobbing, and it does well at bossing, and I'll get into that in a minute. And to get into that, we're going to be then talking about our weaponry. So we're going to be using the Fallen Hope. Now, I did test this quite a bit against the Secret Garden, but after the Fallen Hope's buff about a month ago, this gun just becomes an absolute machine for Freyna, doing an absolute ton of extra damage. And to kind of like skip over it and to really simplify this gun down, it's basically just going to be giving you more damage more consistently over what the Secret Garden would. But both guns are good, and if you don't have a fully built Fallen Hope, or if you don't even have a Fallen Hope yet, the Secret Garden does well. But as you can see here, I've only got 2 out of 4 of my Fallen Hope, and it's already better than my Secret Garden. Even when I had it 1 out of 4, it was better. So Fallen Hope is absolutely Freyna's weapon, and that is absolutely what you want to be running on her. Next, we're going to go into our Inversion. We're going to be using RK Circulation Tactic, we're going to be using Selective Neurostim, and we're going to be using Pain Suppression. These two are mainly just for, well, this one's MP, however you can take that and put Selective Cellular if you're struggling with surviving, and then Pain Suppression we're using for survivability, and RK Circulation we're using because, again, cooldown is a bit of a problem with this build, but I would say a problem, it's more of just like you have to be a little patient. Everything is still going to die, but your cooldown isn't going to be the snap of your fingers. Next, we're going to go over here to our Reactor. I've got a Toxic and I've got a Tech with skill duration and skill cooldown. However, if you can just grab one that has something similar, even down in the bottom stats, or even if you can get something that's just specifically for flat damage, that also works great. And then for our external components, we are going to be using the 4 out of 4 Plague set, and the stats on these don't really matter too much. I would just do the usual like HP and stuff. We do have quite a decent amount of HP on this build, and that is teeny tiny little bit, thankfully, to our RK, as we're going to be using some spare points into our max HP. But as you can see over here, we're going to be going all the way up to Toxic Cohesion, grabbing skill cooldown and skill power on the way as we go up. It's just a very stereotypical RK tuning tree, what you've probably seen 1,000 million times over. Quickly coming back to weaponry, one thing that we are going to do is we're going to have a Deus Ex Manus on, so we can just absolutely shred through like bossing enemies when we don't have our 4 on cooldown. Slash, this is just a really good weapon in general if you're in like a place like Axion and you're trying to kill one of the like mini bosses or bosses in your missions, then it's just a good weapon to have. So, to basically show you what I mean about how the cooldown works in this build, I am going to quickly use up both my abilities. As you can see, they're on quite a bit of a cooldown. That was like 7 seconds to 12 seconds. But if we were to go ahead and spawn in a bunch of enemies real quick, you'll see what I mean, but it doesn't really matter too much. Because when stuff is just ticking and everything's taking a load of damage, your cooldown comes down quick enough that it isn't really going to affect it, and worst comes worst, you can always just rotate between your 1 and your 3 to make sure something is basically always off of cooldown and damage is constantly going out. Obviously, you know how Contagion works, so I don't feel like I have to explain this, but I'm going to anyway. But if we were to just wait this out for all of these guys to take all the damage and the poison to go away, you'll see that basically, thanks to how Contagion works, if we were to make these guys non-invulnerable and we were to just kill one of them over here, like this guy with this is obviously going to spread and just kill absolutely everything on your screen, as Contagion does. This is why I don't think cooldown is necessarily a problem with this build for Freyna, because everything that you're going to be fighting, especially in Axion, is just going to be dying and spreading toxins anyway, that I kind of rarely ever find a reason that I'm going to need my stuff off of cooldown pretty consistently. Everything's going to be dead literally anyway. And then whenever you turn around and you get into bossing, you just do the usual, you pop, you roll, and then you just absolutely mag dump. I like to use the Fallen Hope because I believe it does just like about 20 million more damage in total because you have more shots. Infected Weapon is going to be helping an absolute ton with that as well. And Infected Weapon in general for Fallen Hope is great. As you can see, our weapon damage dealt there is nearly 1 million. And I have this thing only really built for running, and I've got like no catalysts in it. I've got one catalyst in it rather for Brisk Walk, and that is literally it. Like, this is a very bottom of the barrel weapon, but again, we're not really using it for actually shooting. We're literally just using it to apply us some buffs. As you can see there, our ticks are about 160/140 a go, and when you have multiple of these down, obviously you're getting more and more and more. So you're getting a good like 500, 600k-ish between both of your things ticking. As you can see, all of my stuff is off of cooldown, and I'm ready to throw out more stuff. Again, with how Freyna works, obviously you just infect one guy, and then it's just going to spread a whole bunch thanks to Contagion. So I really don't feel like you need to worry too much about cooldown, but if you are struggling with it still, and you're not 100% sure on it, I do recommend maybe replacing your Transcendent module with something like Vet Tac. I have found that Vet Tac is worth it in like these type of cases. But that's basically the build. The rest of the video is just going to be gameplay of me using this build in like Axion and stuff. But thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one. If you want to watch the gameplay, you can. You don't have to. But yeah, thank you, and I hope to see you soon.
How was that? your grave.